Okay, and then do I have the capability to share my screen?
Yes, please. I'm just going to stop my
Oh,
And
screen.
here, I'm
welcome
going to
to all
send the
you
re
people that just joined.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. All right, can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna just go right in. I gotta move this bar though, because the funny thing is Zoom likes to put the bars right in your way when you're trying to do stuff. So,
Hi,
okay.
Trevor.
So just so you guys know, I do not have I when my screen is like this, I can't see the chat box. So please feel free to just come off mute and ask questions, and I don't want you guys to sit quietly because this truly is your time to ask questions. There are no dumb questions, okay? Every question is a good question, no matter what you feel it is or isn't. Please feel free to come off mute and ask questions as we go. Um, because like I said, this truly is here for you. But I'm going to go over some of the changes that are coming up, some of the changes, the good changes we've made, the headlines out there, and then just some of the things we're seeing. And again, please take the time, come off mute and ask your questions, okay? So with that, here is the contact information for the rules. The email and the phone number. Please screenshot that, put it in your phones, put it in your contact list because we are here for you guys. We really want to make sure that that we're answering questions. We're reviewing tours. We're doing anything you guys need because we truly are here for you guys. We're not scary people and we don't want to send out fines. I promise you that. So please, please, please feel free to give us a call, email us, and ask those questions. So with that being said, one of the new things that we have now, and this just passed, is North Star MLS does now allow text on photos. Before we did not allow any text on photos, and obviously, think about it, how you're doing it, make sure the sellers are okay with it, and make sure the text is something that you do want syndicated out. Sometimes text can take away from photos, it takes too much attention off of the actual photo. But part of the reason we're doing that is because, as you guys know, virtual staging, AI enhancements are becoming more and more real. And we do have a virtual staging guidelines that is coming soon. We're working with our legal to get that created. Um, we are doing it as a best practice for you guys, only because Wisconsin, um, Minnesota has not yet. Wisconsin and Washington, and there was one other state has now put that into their statute, or Wisconsin is going to. I think they either did or they are going to be putting disclosures about virtual staging or AI enhancement into their statute. So because they're putting it into statute, we're not going to go against what they're going to do. So they're going to be the regulatory body. However, we are going to have the best practice for you guys, and we're going to try to keep it as close to what they are recommending, or I shouldn't say recommending, what they are going to require. So we as the MLS still can't require it, but if the state requires it, you're going to want to keep up to what they're doing. So we'll keep that communication going also. But that's one of the biggest reasons for allowing text on photos because now you will be able to put virtually staged or AI enhanced on the photos themselves if you choose to. Okay, still no branding, but you can do that. You can, some people want to put little boxes or circles or arrows where properties are, especially for vacant land, or if it's somewhere out, and they put a big map on there. We're seeing a lot of that kind of stuff, and that is really a big help for people to be able to find the property. Some people will point out a local restaurant or something of that sort where it's more of a determining factor where that property is by, and that is okay. Also, just you don't want to promote the business. So, when you're doing it, you don't want to do any kind of promotional about, hey, this is the best restaurant ever, da, da, stuff like that. But you could put that, the gas station's here, whatever pub is here, however you want to do that. If And again, check with your sellers if they're okay with that because, the photos are going to be on their property. And so you want to be able to advertise it as good as you can and make it so people can see it and find it. Um, but I'm going to kind of go through what we're looking at right now as far as the virtual staging guidelines and what we're seeing. California is the other one. There are already doing virtual staging, and it is not recommend. I keep saying that. It is required in California. And so we're kind of trying to keep along those lines too. So everybody across the boards is kind of the same. But basically, what we're looking at is when you're going to do AI enhancements or virtual staging, obviously the disclosures we're going to say are recommended for us. They will be required via state, depending on which state you're in. Okay, it is always going to be a best practice, though, to put some sort of language somewhere, whether it be directly on the photo or in the photo caption, public remarks, agent remarks. You know, again, part of the reason for it being on the photo being a good idea is because not only in the MLS, members can see it in the MLS, but when it goes out to other websites, you're going to want the public to see that too. So the public is going to be able to see, hey, this isn't truly what the property looks like because it has a different paint color, or it has furniture in it. Please make sure when you are doing any kind of virtual staging, you are not taking away from the structure. You're not removing power lines. You're not removing walls. You're not removing things that are truly structural. Or, be very careful when you're adding grass because if it truly does not have grass and it is a dirt yard, that could be very, very much filed upon as false and misleading. So you guys want to make very sure of how you are enhancing these photos. And that's some of the things we are getting a lot of questions on. Okay, so that's the start of it. But then when you do put the photos in, we are going to recommend that your first photo be the virtual staged, and following that is going to be the true photo of it not staged. And then so on and so forth. So to be staged, unstaged, unstaged, or enhanced, unenhanced, and so on and so forth. But then put the language on there that this one's staged, this one is unaltered, this one is staged, this one is unaltered. Just so that way people know and you are very clear on which one is the real look of the property. Um, there are a lot of claims of misrepresentation going around, and this is becoming one of them. So you're going to really want to look into and keep an eye out and listen for if Minnesota does put this into statute. We're working really hard. Hopefully by the next meeting, the next MLS exec meeting, we can get it approved and I can get this out to you guys as far as what our guidelines are going to be. And again, they are a best practice. So that's kind of the twofold there. The text on photos is okay. Still no identifiable people in photos. We get a lot of questions about that. People in photos, if it's from a very far distance, more of a lifestyle type photo, and you cannot identify them, it is okay, but you can't have up close people in photos. No branding still, but text is allowed. So with that being said, on those, anybody have any questions on that? And please come off mute, or Jeremy or Kathy, if you can see the chat box, feel free to let me know if there's questions in there.
Again, this is a dumb question. I feel you said nothing is dumb, so I'm going to
Nothing is
ask
dumb.
you. So, what you said branding, what does that branding means?
Sure. So branding would mean having your brokerage branding on there or your name, your phone number, any of that kind of stuff. Um, Now, on virtual tours, we do allow brokerage branding as far as just the brokerage name in 10-point font. So that's pretty small. I mean, that's much smaller than what you're seeing on your screen right now. So if you were to do that, it would be the brokerage branding only, and that is to keep you guys compliant with Code of Ethics, Article 12. However, if you guys, a lot of times when you are posting anything online, I'm hoping you are always adding your brokerage branding anyways. So it doesn't really need to go on the virtual tour because it's already brokerage branded, but that would be the only exception, and that would be on virtual tours. But as far as photos, there can't be any brokerage branding, so you can't use, your logo on there. You can't use your name, any of that kind of stuff, or yourself having yourself in person on photos or videos. But that is actually a very good question. So thank you for asking. Anybody else? Any other questions on any of that, or virtual staging at all? Because we do get a lot around virtual staging. A lot of questions come in on that.
Any questions in the chat box? I'll have it covered.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, well, if there's no question, but I'll leave some time at the end also to open up for questions. So if you do have any, just let me know or save them for the end, and we can answer them there too. So, okay, so now this one is a big one, and this is, I know it's been around for a little bit, but we're seeing this a lot right now. Okay. So vacant land scams between Wisconsin and Minnesota are huge. I mean, it is all over. Don't feel like it's just us, but Wisconsin and Minnesota are seeing them a lot right now. Um, and it is becoming a very big problem with the MLS also because the listings are being put into the MLS. So that's why I'm bringing it to your attention. Your association may have already put out some articles about this, but because the listings are coming into the MLS and we are actually getting the property owners calling us, and they are filing lawsuits. So that's why I thought it was very important for you guys to know this because we are now hitting a busy season. There's a lot of land for sale, and it's not always vacant land, but most of the time it's vacant land. Sometimes it's unoccupied homes where they find out that the seller lives in another state. Usually they're in Florida, Arizona, something like that. And so now people are trying to either list it on rental sites and it's not truly theirs, or they're trying to pretend they're the owner and sell the home. But we're seeing it mostly with land. Okay. So what they're doing is they're contacting the agents and they're doing everything virtually. So if you guys are doing things via Zoom, via just phone calls, emails, please have your checks and balances in place. Now, I don't know if you guys as a brokerage have something in place. Maybe talk with Randy. I'm not sure if Randy's on today, but maybe talk with Randy and see if there is a checks and balances in place for this. As far as how can you guys identify if this is a true person, um, if this is the true seller, and um, like I said, we've had a lot of phone calls and the sellers are asking us as an MLS, why are we allowing them to be put on the MLS? Why are we not checking your contracts? Which, as you guys know, we can't really check your contracts all the time. We could audit it, but we don't know whose signature you truly got. And so make sure when you are getting those signatures, they are the true seller signatures. Make sure you're getting identification from them, even if you can get a couple different types of identification. If it is an out of town owner, maybe do a little bit more due diligence and try to figure out who and how. The biggest problem is when there is an out of town, it is harder to meet in person. But if there is some way, somehow that you could meet them at least one time in person to verify they are who they are. But again, IDs can be falsified. So I don't know if
I,
you.
I was
Okay.
at a meeting and somebody brought up that, they had somebody that was trying to, scam them into listing a property, and they had what they sent over as a driver's license, and they took it into the, police department or whatever and had them verify it, and it was false. So I
Yes,
don't know
and
if that's a good practice to try.
absolutely. Anything you guys can do, because that is one of the things that we get questioned on right now because AI is so good at doing what it does. It really can help them to create more of a fictitious driver's license or sort of ID type. So yes, please do that. I don't know if you guys have access to the Forewarn app. Some associations are supplying that. So if not, maybe reach out to SPAR and see if they would ever consider giving you guys the Forewarn app or as a brokerage. That is a very good one to vet out your clients.
Hey,
Um,
Tricia, can I ask a question?
sure.
So what is the advantage? I mean, why are they trying to scam obviously they're trying to get money, but how does that
Yep.
money trail work? Meaning if you were to list something that wasn't, real, so to
Yep.
speak, right? You get a buyer, comes in, you're doing the contract.
Yeah.
How do they actually get the money on this? Are they looking for, I guess I'm not following how they're getting paid.
Sure.
How the
So,
scammers, thank you.
yep. Yeah. And I'll go through one case that we had last year. Um, well, actually, we've had a few of them. And most of the time, once it gets to the closing table, once it gets to title, title usually catches it. But one of them was so good that title actually did not catch it even. So it is just like a normal. You think you're closing, this person who says they're the seller goes through every step with you guys, but you never see them, or maybe you met them in person and their ID is that good that you feel it's them. Most of the time, though, again, it's all done online. So you get to that point, you go through, you get the purchase agreement in place. Everybody agrees on this. Um, Again, most time it's on land, so it's not that the home always needs an inspection or anything like that. We've had a few home ones, but they've been caught right away. But, they will get to the point of closing. And at title is, like I said, it'll get to that day where they're going to close it. And then title will start pulling and doing their checks and balances. And title is usually where it catches. But the one that went through actually did go through. And the person that was supposedly the seller actually did get the money for that. And it did get transferred through title and put into their account that they had given them. And that money was then gone. So now the seller is out their land and the buyer is out their money. And then it becomes a very long legal battle of who technically owns that property now.
So
And so,
what are the
So,
recourses? Oh, I'm so sorry. I was
no,
just going to
go-
ask real quick, what are the recourses then to the real estate agent on that? Are there any legal recourses come back to them as
well,
far as liability on this?
they are included. So on that last one, I don't know what happened because it then came out of the MLS. It was no longer because we do get subpoenaed. Okay. So they will subpoena us to see if that listing is or was in the multiple listing service. And so that one, it ended up being that it was taken out. So yes, the agent and brokerage was part of that. Um, and as far as the one that just happened a couple of weeks ago, the seller was going to go after the agent and the brokerage because they felt that they didn't do their due diligence. They didn't identify them properly. Um, and so I don't know what will happen with that, but it will be a legal battle that goes to the courts.
yeah, for sure. So the first red flag here is if somebody's trying to, right, do something without meeting in person.
Absolutely. Yes, that is going to be your biggest red flag. And then, you know, just start asking a ton of questions. I know it's going to be hard because you guys don't always know the people, but sometimes, we've had agents that has went as far as to go and talk to the neighbors and say, hey, so and so contacted me and wants to list this land. Do you know who they are? I mean, it's not that you have to, but that's what some people are doing because a lot of them are being found by the neighbor. The neighbor's like, "Hey, I saw your land online. Are you selling?" Because a lot of times they want to buy the land around them and they're like, "Nope, I'm not selling." And why is this on there? And then it becomes a thing. Um, so let's just say this does happen to you and you find out and you're like, oh my goodness, I did not know. What all you need to do right away is send us a change form. Randy does still have to sign it because he is the broker. And just put this is a fraudulent listing and we will delete it. We will just delete it off of the MLS. That gets it off syndication sites. And we do that immediately because you don't want it on there. Obviously, if it not even as canceled. We actually physically delete it off of the system. So that way it is not on there for other agents to see. It's not on any syndication sites. And, you know, that will clear it up as far as the MLS side of things. But yes, please make sure that you do whatever it takes to make sure that that seller is truly the seller. And again, it very rarely happens on actual single family residence, but vacant land it does. Like I
Hello,
said.
may I make a suggestion? My name is Brenda Nichols.
Sure, Brenda, go ahead.
Thank you. I would suggest gathering a ton of documentation, such as driver's licenses, front and back, um, a copy of the deed, uh, perhaps a Zoom chat to verify they look like their driver's license. I think it would be very wise to gather a ton of documentation if this is something someone is interested in.
Hmm. Absolutely. And maybe as a brokerage, if you don't already have it together, put some checks and balances together. Like I said, some of the things that we have seen is they truly have went to the neighbors, or they will try to find out who exactly the seller is and try to contact them directly. As we know, it's not always easy to contact them because it's not always easy to find phone numbers, especially because most of them do live out of state. We can look it up on tax record and see what their address is. So even if it's doing the old snail mail version, that way it's getting to the address that we show or that realist shows or that tax shows online for them. Um, because you can talk to the person online and they can give you a phone number, but it's going to just keep rerouting to their own phone number. But um, that's where, talking to neighbors around that area. I like the going to the police station to verify identification. There is nothing wrong with that. And again, if there is any way to get the Forewarn app or anything like that, that would be great. Forewarn, what that is you put a phone number in or a name in, and it will bring up all their history. It will bring up where they reside. It will bring up their cars, believe it or not, if they've had bankruptcies, any of that kind of stuff. So let's just say you get a phone number and it comes up, and all of a sudden, because you're selling land and maybe it's a huge chunk of land for $1 million, and you see that there has recently been several bankruptcies and different things on their financials. Well, you're going to know that that's most likely a scam then, because they're probably not going to be able to. And I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to down anybody who has had a bankruptcy or anything like that, but truly, usually they're not in a financial position to where they can buy land or a home at that cost. But a lot of times, too, if it is a fictitious number, it won't come up with that person's name. It will be an unknown name, or it'll come up with somebody else's name. So that will be another way of being able to tell, hey, this isn't that person. So, does anybody have any other questions, or do you guys want to, throw some other ideas out about this right now? Because this really is a big one, and I would really hate to see anybody fall victim of this because it is happening. And again, it is happening in Wisconsin and Minnesota. It is happening at other MLSs around the country, but obviously we see it here.
Well, I even told you about the gal that called into our office, and she was going through a divorce, and they had some land out on Lake Minnetonka in Orono, and some fake person got one of our brokers to list it for them. And all of a sudden she found out that her land was for sale and had sold. And her husband, she was blaming her husband for trying to sell it without telling her. And he didn't even know about it. So it was just weird. And that's what prompted this whole webinar today, because I had to call Tricia and ask her what was going on.
Yeah. So there you go. You got an example right within the brokerage even. So
yeah, it happened here. So
yeah. So I would highly suggest, whether you do it for yourself or you do it as a brokerage, maybe on one of your meetings, you guys just throw a bunch of ideas out on how to counteract something of this sort happening, especially because it is a busy time right now. Maybe, even one of the things, put the land for sale sign out on the property so the neighbors do question, or the neighbors do go to the sellers and say, hey, are you selling? Granted, you don't really want to get to that point where you're getting stuck in there, though. You would like to verify them before you actually put anything for sale out. But if you're going as far as, okay, I feel like I verified them, It wouldn't be a bad idea to put that sign out there, just so that way, if for some reason it truly wasn't the seller, but you have went all your lengths to verify this person, well, then that question is going to be asked by the neighbors because we all know neighbors want to buy the land that's around them if they can, and they want to be the first ones to buy it. So they're going to be contacting the seller saying, "Well, I want to buy your land. Why didn't you tell me it was for sale?" So that would be the other thing too. The other thing too, keep all documentation. Keep everything in. I know it sounds like it's a lot. Don't ever get just word of mouth. Keep everything in some sort of discoverable. So that way, if you were to be brought to court, you can say, hey, these are all the steps I took to verify this person. That way they can say you tried everything you can. You ID'd them. You had phone conversations. Even if it is to the point where you record your Zoom meeting with them and let them know, hey, I'm going to record this just for whatever, let them know whatever reason you need to, just so that way people are very aware that, hey, this is what we're doing. And I can't imagine that a seller would mind you recording them if they truly are the seller. Now, people that get really pushy and really angry are going to be the people that are not real. So, okay, on that one, do we have any other questions? Any advice? Any thoughts? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Okay, so this is the other hot topic right now. As we know, there's been
Tricia, I'm
yes,
sorry, but before you start, Randy did ask if you would explain why agents can't do TNAS and if the MLS will consider letting agents do it themselves.
sure.
He said our office is closed on the weekends.
Yep. So, and the reason for this is okay, this was something that the board of directors actually voted on quite a while ago because it's taking it off the market. So anytime it's canceled or TNAS, it's being taken off of the market. And so they felt that that was a broker decision because the broker is the one allowing that to be taken off of the market. Um, so that's where that stands at this moment. However, Randy could give agents, and I don't know if he wants to because then would have full access, but could get broker access for some or all of the agents. That way they could do that. You would just have to do that through SPAR. And they would update it, giving agents broker access, or maybe you know of a few brokers who work or agents who work on the weekends that could do that for people, give a certain few the broker access. But when you give broker access, that means they have access to everything. And so they're going to be able to do a whole lot more than just as an agent edit. But that is why, is because they felt that the decision to remove something from the market was a broker decision because the broker owns that data.
Yeah, I don't know. If the agent wants to take it off, we're gonna sign it and take it off.
Sure.
They just
Well,
added
and
a
the
like,
thing is too, Randy, we do have on-call people over the weekend. I know we still need a signature from you, but let's just say that somebody's going to possibly need that. If you were to sign the change form and know that it's coming, we could do it for them on the weekend also. So you just send it into our help desk and they could cancel the listing off the MLS or put it in TNAS, whichever one you need it to be in.
I was gonna ask that. I thought that Kathy said something one time about like 24/7 support. And I didn't
Yep, we
believe.
have an on-call person. And well, usually it's Angie from our help desk, but sometimes Corey from our help desk is on the weekends. And so they're always monitoring to see if anything's coming in. So yes, on the weekends we do have somebody. I don't know that they're going to answer, past a certain time at night because, that a certain time at night. We don't really have 24-hour, but
Yeah,
we
right.
do have somebody on that watches throughout the day, all day on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, so basically probably till 5 or so, because
Yeah.
they don't do that on Monday through Friday, right?
Monday through Friday, there's a rules is there until 4:30, but we always have somebody there until 5. Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes we do have a person though on after hours for questions and stuff like that, even Monday through Friday.
Okay, good to know. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So feel free to just send in a change form. Again, it does have to be signed by you because you're the broker. But you know, that could be something they relook at. But as we know, the MLS is participant driven. The broker owns all the listings, so that is why they chose to go that way.
Got it.
All right. So I'm guessing everybody has seen the fun headlines that are out there. And I just wanted to touch a little bit on this because we are getting questions on this quite often. Um, so kind of to put things into perspective, I'm sure you're all aware, but Compass has now taken on Anywhere, which has also brought in oh gosh, the mortgage company, I'm blanking, Rocket Mortgage. So they're all one whole entity basically right now. Compass is starting to do their private listing network, meaning they are doing it's a three-phase marketing, and we have been in talks with Robert Refkin to see what he's thinking, where he's at with that, and where the MLS falls into it with him. But that also means that Zillow has now started their they call it pre-marketing, but theirs is a coming soon. So theirs really doesn't affect the MLS too much because the MLS has coming soons anyways. And so it's basically the same thing. And Zillow did even state in one of their articles that, agents still have to be compliant with MLS policy. So the reason I wanted to put these on here is because we get the questions of, well, can I do this? What does this mean for us? What are we doing about it? So on and so forth. So what are we doing about it? I'll start there. We are taking this to our board of directors. Like I said, Tim has had communications with Errol and Robert Refkin, and he is, in communication with them to see what they're doing, how they're doing it, and how to keep everybody compliant with the MLS. We are taking a very long list of policies to our Rules and Regulations Committee and the Board of Directors to see if we need to make any changes, what changes we need to make, if any, and if we're not, how we're going to proceed forward. But just know at this moment, at this time, everything is staying the same.
So a quick question.
Yes.
I remember when I first started, I loved coming soons. And the reason I loved coming soons is I could put a post in the yard saying coming soon. It wouldn't be on the MLS. I get no dates counted. I'd be able to put my information on the sign and I'd get phone calls up the crazy of new buyers. I loved it. So my question here is, isn't this kind of the same aspect, except they're getting preferential treatment? They're not getting any days on market. They're getting huge amounts of phone calls from interested buyers. And I guess my point in this is that somebody should be just coming up with a even playing field, whether we can put signs in the yard again. I mean, if they can put it on the internet, why can't we put it in the yard with no days counted against market and not being fined for doing it? I mean, we're giving one party a way better odds. I mean, naturally, internet, I'd rather do internet than in the yard. So if we're going to allow the internet to be like this, why don't we go back to letting agents be able to put the sign in the yard, not have it counted against us?
So actually, you can in coming soon. In coming soon, when your property is showing as coming soon in the MLS, you can put a sign in the yard.
I meant with no time limit, because do they
Yep.
still have the time limit on their coming soons?
21 days. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's okay. You can, so yeah, I'll answer all these questions right now and hopefully, feel free to pop in if you have more. Coming soon means it's active on the MLS. Coming soon means you can market it as much as you want. There are no days on market while it's in coming soon. Okay. No days on market. They do not start until your availability date. So on your coming soon form, you have the availability date. That means that's when it's available for showings. So just remember, the only thing you cannot do during coming soon is show it. You just can't show it. Obviously, if somebody presents an offer, we are not going to go against code of ethics. So if somebody presents an offer while you're in coming soon and your sellers would like to, obviously, you're going to present it to them because you have to do it in a reasonable amount of time. And if your sellers want to entertain it and see it, it's up to them. But if they say no, hold all of them until this date, that is going to be what the seller wants. But when it isn't coming soon, you can put your sign on the yard, you can send out your emails, you can put it on all, and it goes from the MLS as long as you choose it to. It goes from the MLS to all the sites. Okay. If your sellers say, go ahead and put it on the MLS, but I don't want it on syndication sites yet, you guys have the option to put it in the MLS is coming soon and just choose Internet No. Internet No keeps it in the MLS. So all MLS members can see it. It just does not go out to any third-party websites. Okay. So yes, please use coming soon the way coming soon was meant to be used. You can go up to 21 days. Let's just say that you put it in coming soon for 10 days and something happened and the seller now needs to go the full 21 days. You absolutely can do that. We always just say, for one, get it in writing. Two, if you have any showings scheduled, you want to do your due diligence and let that agent know, hey, something came up, the sellers need to push this out. We're going to push it out to this date, so please reschedule for that date. And then again, if offers are presented, go ahead and give them to the sellers. The only time you're going to have to move that is if they want to do a showing. If they're doing it sight unseen, which we know a lot of people do, well, then you leave it in coming soon. Once it's moved out of coming soon, though, it cannot go back in. So if you move it, let's just say you're at your 10-day mark and you move it, it can't go back into coming soon. It would have to be off the MLS for 90 days or more, or it would need to be sold or with a new brokerage in order to go back into a coming soon. So, do you guys have any questions on that, on the coming soon part of things? Okay. So then as far as Compass goes, like I said, we've been in talks with them and I don't know if or what policies are going to be changed or we will have communications out about that. But even though there is the three-phase marketing and Compass is doing their private listing network, if they are a member of North Star MLS, we are still holding with the clear cooperation policy as of right now. And the clear cooperation policy still stands as if there is any sort of public marketing, it needs to be in the MLS within 1 business day as either coming soon or active. Okay. I know we talked about it before, but I'll bring it up again because there's still question about it. The one-to-one broker-to-broker communication, that is still okay. That is still allowed. And that means you are doing a one-to-one. It truly is one-to-one. And to keep it in compliance with the clear cooperation policy, you want to make sure that you're not mass emailing out. You're still not putting signs out. You're still not putting advertisements out online while it's in withheld. Some people are asking the question, well, what if I just don't put the address? Or what if I put just very minimal information? If there's a contract in place and you are a member of North Star MLS, it would still need to go in the MLS within 1 business day because that is the clear cooperation policy. And so at this time, even though Robert Refkin is wanting to do things differently, even Compass agents that are members of North Star MLS still have to follow the clear cooperation policy as far as North Star MLS is concerned. Now that could change. It might change. As we know, it is under scrutiny and probably will be for a while. So keep watching the headlines and keep your ears and eyes open to our messages that we have out there because we will put communications out. There's always going to be a broker-wide email that goes out first, so the brokers are made aware first. But then we communicate it to the rest of the membership. So that way you guys know maybe it's going to go away. And I know there's people that are 50-50 on this. Some people want it to go away and some people do not want it to go away. The good thing about clear cooperation is it is keeping the listings in the MLS. And that's, we are one central place and it is very hard to find that one central place to have all the listings. If it does go away, it could make it to where people start hiding it or they are only putting it on their site or you have to work with one of their agents or one of your agents to get that listing. And the hard thing is going to be, and we're going to go backwards in time, kind of how we were back then, is where they're going to have to search each brokerage to find the listing, or the seller will figure it out somehow. They'll find out about it, but you won't have access to it because it's hidden behind their walls of their private listing network. And so that's why we really want to play fair with everybody. And that's why the clear cooperation policy has been good, even though I know some people don't agree with it. So hard to say where it's going to go at this moment, but we are still holding still with our coming soon and our clear cooperation policy. There will not be any changes at this time. So do you guys have any questions on that? Nothing? Okay. I wanted to hit
Sorry.
on the late. Oh,
Tricia, is it mandatory to be on the MLS? Coming from
as far
Tricia.
is the list. So well, I'm kind of going here. If it is advertised, if you have a contract in place and it falls into one of our property types, it has to go on the MLS within 2 business days, as at least as withheld. Okay. But if there's any public marketing at all, then yes, it has to go on the MLS as either coming soon or active within 1 business day.
Perfect.
Hopefully. Okay. And so that segues us into this. So late listings, I think I brought this up last time. We're still seeing a lot of this happening, and I'm not saying that it's your brokerage, just MLS wide. We're seeing this still happening. So basically, like I just said, within the mandatory area, which is all of Minnesota, now North Dakota, and then in Wisconsin, we have Buffalo, Pepin, Polk, Pierce, and St. Croix counties. Anything that is taken in contract form, once that contract is fully executed, it would need to go in the MLS within 2 business days. Okay. The only thing that is excluded from that is for rental properties, new construction, under construction or new developments, and then commercial. That is excluded from clear cooperation, and it is excluded from our mandatory submission policy. But what I kind of wanted to go over here with you guys was, what is the listing date? Because we get that question a lot. So we call it a list date, you guys call it a contract date, or we can call it a start date, however we want to say it. But there's 2 different dates to think about here, and you're always going to go with whatever happens the last. So on lines 9 and 10, I believe it is, you have the contract starts on X date and expires on X date. Okay, so there's that date, but then there's also your signature date. So let's just say that you guys have it starting today, but they don't sign it for 5 days from now. That is going to be your list date in the MLS, your start date. That's when your contract is actually active and started, is when all those signatures are obtained. So your 9 and 10, that list date is no longer the date that it's going to be the list date in the MLS. It's going to be your signature date. But now let's just say that you guys decide to take the contract and everybody signs today, but that list date on line 9 isn't until 5 days from now. That now is going to be your actual start date, is because that is when you're saying, okay, this is going to be the day we started, is on that day. That's what happens last. So always think of it as what happens last, the signature date or the lines 9 or 10. Which one of those happens last is what your list date in the MLS is going to be. And that is when you should be advertising or could be advertising your property. You don't want to advertise before that because your contract is not active or started. So we're seeing that still quite often. People get very confused on what those dates are or what they should put. And when you are inputting it into the MLS, let's just say you have it in as incomplete. And let's just say you put a date in there as a placeholder because you're doing your contract. Just don't forget that before you go from withheld, you'll go from incomplete to withheld. But anytime you're moving it from incomplete, just make sure you update that list date in the MLS to match whatever the actual start date is on your contract, whether that be on line 9 or your signature date. So does anybody have questions on that? Because we do see that quite often. Nothing. All right. All right. So this one I'm sure you have heard through SPAR also. But North Star MLS really wants to make sure that you guys are very aware of what's going on. Make sure you're not sharing your passwords with anybody. There has been some password sharing that has been found, and a lot of it has been with vendors. But also, if you are going to hire somebody to help you, obviously ask Randy first because he has to approve it. But if you guys are going to hire an assistant, you can't just share your password with them. And please don't tell me if you are. Please make sure you talk to Randy right away after this conversation and you go get them their own access through SPAR. Or, if you guys have membership also at a different association, but I think SPAR is your main association. Password sharing does come with $1,000 fine, so please don't do that. When you're password sharing, that's giving them access to your full MLS. So not only could that fault you guys if they start doing something they should not be doing because it looks like it's you doing it and you will be responsible along with your brokerage, but now they will have access to all of your customers' transaction desk. They will have access to if you guys are using the money moving, I'm blanking on it right now. But just remember, if you share your password, they are logging in and they have access to all of your information. So please make sure you are not sharing your passwords. If you do need access, let's say you want to work with an IDX vendor, which I'm not sure if anybody knows that, and we can do one whole training on that one day because that is kind of confusing. Excuse me. But if you are going to do a website, check with Randy first and make sure he's okay with it because he will have to approve whoever your IDX vendor is. But you can't just give your password and credentials to that vendor. That vendor has to go through the process to gain credentials on their own through our MLS grid. And so again, and if somebody tries to pretend they're you and change your password on your behalf and you did not do that, make sure you contact your association immediately. If you find any kind of weird things going on with your account, maybe people are scheduling a bunch of showings that you did not schedule. Maybe there's a listing that all of a sudden showed up, but you did not create it. Make sure you contact your association right away, even the MLS. But this is one of the biggest reasons we have the multi-factor authentication. Excuse me. We have that put into place. That has stopped a lot of people from trying to gain access to the MLS upon your login. So those are things that have happened, are happening, and we are working diligently to stop it from happening. But again, we really want to make sure you are not sharing your passwords. So with that being said, do you guys have any questions on any of that? And please feel free to ask questions. I'm not going to fine you. If something happened where you maybe did and you didn't realize you weren't supposed to, again, you just want to make sure that you talk to Randy and get whoever the credentials, or if you're working with a vendor, that you take that away. I know Red X, I don't know if anybody's using them, but they are one of them they're diligently trying to get agents to give them their password. And so please don't do that. Any questions on that? Okay, well, this is our time. I wanted to leave a little bit of time. We got about 10 minutes left. I would love to open it up for questions, or if there's any insight that you guys have for me, if there's any wish list you have.
I'll tell you in a minute. Sorry. You know what's going on. All right. So one person did ask if most of these scams are from people from out of the country.
No, believe it or not. Well, not that we know of. Okay, some of them are not. Some of them, yes, they are. So as far as the password ones, we do believe that those ones are. As far as the land scams, no, not all of them. A lot of them are scammers right in the area, but I think that I think they're searching to see who lives in that area, and then they will find this vacant land. And if they're not living in the area, then usually the owners are the ones who don't live in the area. But as far as the passwords go, I think a lot of those ones are out of the country.
All right, and I don't see any other questions. I do have a few announcements if you want to hang on, Tricia, and maybe another question will pop up.
Absolutely. Yes, I will stop sharing my screen then, so that way if you have other things you want to put up.
Hi, not a question, but just thank you for your time, and all your explanations were really clear. So that's why not too many questions. Thanks
Well,
again.
thank you.
Yeah, she's great. We really appreciate you. We will have you back soon.
And it's forever changing, so I will try to always keep you all updated.
Yes. So just a couple of things. One more for you, Tricia. Do you have that number for weekends, or where would they find the number to call in?
Yeah, so actually here, why don't I put that in the chat real quick for you guys? And I'm going to put the email address and I'll put the phone number for you, okay?
Great. That'd be awesome. I just wanted to tell you guys to sign in to these meetings with your first and last name if you can, just so that we know you're with NRG or you've been invited. If we have some agents that are looking. Pardon me, Randy?
I'm sorry. I didn't try to cut you off. I was just going to mention before. I seriously was just clearing my throat. But well, with Tricia, it's just the help desk number, right? Can't they just like go to northstarmls.com and then see the number and the email on the screen, right?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
But I'll just put it in the chat also, just in case you guys want. And that is for the help desk. The one that was on my main screen, that is for rules. So, but they can help you as far as any of those questions go.
Okay, sorry, Kathy. I literally did not try to cut you off.
That's fine, Randy. No problem. Let's see. Just asking you NRG agents when you come on the huddle to sign in with your first and last name. We're not taking, a roll call or anything like that, but we just want to make sure that you're with our company and you know how that is. It's a weird world. And then also there's a headshot day coming up, and I'm sorry, but I don't have the date right now. I can look for it real quick. But someone's having an open house. It was posted on the Facebook page, and also you were all sent an email about it. So if you want a free headshot, apparently this company is doing one at an open house, and it's during the week. And just look for that, and we'll make sure that it's reposted on the Facebook page one more time just for you to see that. And then just talking about. Say that again? It's
April the 9th.
Oh, can you find that maybe and share your screen, Jeremy? But it's on April 9th. Yeah. Okay, and then the last thing I just wanted to tell you, just an update on what the next huddles coming up are. On the 14th, we're having First American Title. On the 21st, we're having a company called Homestretch, which they have to do with like staging a home. And so that'll be interesting. On the 23rd of this month, we have a CE Lunch and Learn class. If any of you would like to attend, we'll be sending an email out to all of you. So look for that to sign up for that. We don't have a very, it's only one credit. It's only one credit. And so the CE Lunch and Learn is coming on the 23rd of this month in Edina. And then on the 28th, there it is. Great. Thank you, Jeremy. That's if you guys need a new headshot. If you are a new agent, just joined in the last month and you haven't sent your headshot in, you can send it to me and I'll send it to Patrick, because we want to announce on our Facebook page that you are a new member with us. So, because, Trevor Murlock is on right now and he's brand new. He just signed on, I think, 2 days ago. So welcome, Trevor. And then on the 28th will be our new agent orientation. There he is. And I will be gone. I'm going on a cruise. Not that I can afford it, but my sister gave it to me for my birthday. So I get to go on a cruise on the end of the month. So I'll be gone for that new agent orientation. But Jeremy will handle it, and it'll be just as usual, except for the few things that I kind of organize it, but someone else will take over. Okay. Anything else for anyone else? Speak now, or we will close the meeting.
Yeah, I was just gonna quick say thank you, Kathy, for the introduction. So I'm Trevor Morlock, and just getting started as of yesterday, finishing all the transition, and really excited to be part of NRG, and look forward to meeting all of you.
Thank you, Trevor. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
If you haven't done your sweet assist, look in your email and get it done, because pretty soon we're not going to be paying you any other way, and you'll have to drive to Edina to get your check. So that's your automatic deposit if you have a commission coming. Anything from you, Randy?
No, I mean, I guess you covered all the bases. So if anybody
right.
needs to reach out, go ahead, or make it a great week, right?
Yes, for sure. Thank you for putting up with my 3-year-old. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye, guys. Have a great
Anybody
great
wants to
rest
go
of
to that
your week.
lunch and learn, it's a good one because, you know, it's just 1 free hour of CE, but then we'll hang out for 45 minutes and have Jersey Mike's before the class. So
Yeah,
if anybody attends that, I'll see you there.
yeah, for sure. It's a lot of fun.
What's the topic going to be?
Oh, I
It's
will
another
tell
inspection.
you. What is it?
Pardon?
It's
Well, I
on
don't know the name of
inspection.
it.
Yeah, I can tell you exactly what it is, though. 1 second.
But it deals with home inspection.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
good.
you know, like the horrors and all that stuff.
4-point inspections by structure tech. Not available for Wisconsin agents if you just have a Wisconsin license to get.
Hi, this is Brenda. May I say something real quick regarding the inspections class? I would attend, Randy, but I already took that class, so I can't take it again.
Right.
If you
Or else
take it
I
in the
want
last
to
2
come
years.
join.
Unless it's been past 2 years, then you can take it again. But if you took it in the last 2 years, you'll have to wait until we're just kind of, you know, there's a lot of agents we have like 470 agents right now. So a lot of people haven't taken them. So we repeat them sometimes with these. So if, you've already taken it, you can't take it again. You can, but you're not going to get credit. So if you want a free sandwich, you can come, but it's not going to, you know. All right.
Thanks, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Right,
thanks,
week,
everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and sell. This is the time. Call all your people. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tricia.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.